Hey, I'm Steven, the calculator guy, and today we're going to get an update on the Sommelier vaults, specifically Fraximal, Real Yield BTC, and Real Yield ETH. Why? Because I think that they are some of the best sources of real, genuine, cage-free, grass-fed, non-GMO yield you can find in DeFi. And two, I work on them, right? So I am a co-founder of Define Logic Labs. We work on these three vaults, and I think these vaults are super cool. Let me just give you the basics, right? So Real Yield ETH at 10.76 million, which I just think is phenomenal, and 8.4%. What does that mean? That means since inception, since I believe it was like April 12th, we have annualized 8.4% APY. That is, again, completely real yield, no emissions, all through fees on like Uniswap v3 tick optimization or on leveraged validation. So when the validation yield is somewhere around 3.6 to 4.6%, it bounces between that range. But that's basically the range. We found ways to lever that effectively and efficiently, and even play on some narratives there, and have done, I think, remarkably well since. So, we're doing twice the risk-free validation yield of like 4%, even 3.8%. And right now, we're even doing better than that. So right now, our UniV3 tick optimization is just like killing it. But this is like since inception. So even though we're a little bit higher now, it's going to take a while for the average to catch up. Okay, so that's Real Yield ETH. Really love that product. Fraximal is the next one. So Fraximal, I'll just like give you guys the TLDR. There is a thing called FraxLend. On FraxLend, you have a bunch of different pools you can lend to. The sunset ones you can't lend to, but the ones that are not sunset, which is all of the other ones, you can. And you can see here, there is a pretty smooth lend APY from like 6% down to roughly 0%. This was not always so smooth. This used to be like pretty volatile, right? This lend APR. So what we did is we said, let's go ahead and optimize that. Let's build this product that if you deposit Frax, will look at all of these, right? Look at the yield curve between these and then determine exactly how to deposit into them so that it optimizes the yield for the depositor. So here's sort of, I love this graph because this little bubble's so cute to me. I know it's kind of a weird thing to say, but graphs are awesome. So basically what this says is like, what would the optimal possible deposit be? You can see like, this is just between and Curve, because those tended to be the top sort of yielders. So this is like for illustrative purposes, you can see as you deposit more into Geom, the actual yield ends up going down. Same here. So like the more you deposit into Geom, you can see that it just gets like the yield goes down to virtually nothing. Here, this little bubble is the exact optimal ratio of Geom and Curve deposit where you get the most possible return on your investment. So that's what it does. Like we have this off-chain sort of algorithm that runs through a ridiculously large number of simulations of deposits and rebalances, finds one that's optimal, and then we will go ahead and run that rebalance, and it'll update that on the chain. So it's really cool. We'll send that signal, and then it'll go through the processes to finally get rebalanced. So that's pretty cool, right? There's like 2-point-something million in this vault. I just love this because it optimizes FraxLend, and I like FraxLend itself. Just if you're interested in FraxLend, one of the cool things you can do there is like deposit FPI, which is like an inflation pegged, soft peg stablecoin, kind of. It's like pegged to inflation, and then you can borrow Frax against it for virtually nothing, right? 0.2%, and then just go ahead and do whatever you want with that while also being exposed to value appreciation from inflation. So that's kind of cool. Another thing, like check out how inexpensive it is to borrow against Bitcoin. So you bring in your wrap Bitcoin, you can borrow Frax against that at 0.15% interest rate, or sorry, 0.24% interest rate, which is just nuts. So like I like FraxLend. I think it's really cool, and it's fun to be working with the Frax team. So kind of bummed we were trying to get a gauge for this, so you could like go and deposit your Fraxy, which is like the receipt token asset, into a Frax gauge, and like emissions will be directed to that. We got really far on this process, but it got shut down by a Curve whale, who I think just didn't want us drinking his milkshake. He's maybe like a Fraxland depositor there. A bit of a bummer because, I think this really adds to the ecosystem. But when you deal with DAO governance, you quickly realize it is like an oligarchy where people who have just like accumulated tons of the vote escrow token or whatever token is used for governance have a lot of say in the vote. And no matter how much the team wants something or no matter how much the community wants something, one person can just say, nope, and squash it, which, they have the right to do that. It's just like shareholding in a stock. If you're the dominant shareholder, you can do that because you're the one with the most on the line, I guess one might say. So anyways, that's Fraximal. I think it's really cool. I think it's a massive value add to Frax and FraxLend. And so let's talk about like our most recent launched baby, which is Real Yield BTC, which actually right now, if I refresh this, I want to say is above 3 million. Like we just got another pretty big deposit. Let's see, big money here. Yep, 3.2 million. Yeah, love to see those updates. So what does this do? Like, how do you get Real Yield on BTC? If you know anything about like wrapped Bitcoin, it is notoriously hard to get yield on. In fact, incredibly hard to get yield on. So how are we doing it? Well, that's a great question. We are using Morpho, Aave, and Uniswap v3. Again, we don't want to deposit, or we don't want the vaults to interact with risky protocols because it's just not worth it, right? Like these are real yield products. They're not targeting ridiculous APYs that are hyperinflationary. They're trying to be a place where you can like set and forget your blue chip asset, only be exposed to things like Morpho, Aave, Uniswap, maybe Compound, and like that's it, right? We're not going to the newest farms. We're not going to like these degen money market protocols. We're just staying within a very, very strict range and trying to do the most efficient strategies within that subset of protocol exposures that we have. And the smart contracts won't let us do anything else, which is really nice. Like one more protection for depositors. Okay, so anyways, 3.27 million, really happy with that. But what is it doing, right? And where is this yield coming from? It's because the base yield is 6.95%. So we're getting a base yield on our Bitcoin of 6.95% annualized since inception, which was a couple weeks ago. And then there's also this like additional incentives from Sommelier at about 5% annualized emissions, right? So you have these two things. But the base yield of 6.95%, like to me, that just makes me super stoked. How are we getting it, right? So if you go over to like these portfolios, you can sort of see like what happens on these vaults. This is the Real Yield ETH vault. So you can see sort of like where some of the assets are. All of this is on chain, completely transparent. Another thing that I like, because this is kind of like CDeFi where you deposit an asset and then like some complex things are happening with that asset or some strategies are being run on the back end to give you yield, which historically has been a terrible idea. I'm not going to name any protocols, but because they've been black box, right? You deposit your assets, you see nothing, you have no idea what's going on. And then like one day you get a message from the founder saying, something, we just had a bad month and now we're shutting down, and then everyone gets like a 50% haircut, or it was a Ponzi the whole time and now all of you out your money. Not going to happen with Sommelier. Completely transparent. You can look at exactly what your assets are doing. And if you were super nuanced and like could move money around really quickly, you could do this yourself, right? You could copy trade, but like the gas cost would be incredible. Sommelier actually covers the gas costs for you, so the depositors aren't eating that at all. We have a really cool mechanism for that. So anyways, what I'm saying is you can see we have Aave V2 positions. We also have Morpho. So what Morpho allows us to do is like get matched with lenders. So we borrow ETH for a lot of these positions. We can get leveraged yield on like wrapped staked positions. And when borrowing, if you borrow through Aave V3, you're going to get a decent rate, but it's going to get really close to that yield of the wrapped staked ETH position. But on Morpho, there's like 100 BIP difference. So you're getting a 1% better borrow rate on Morpho if you can get matched. Granted, we are still waiting for matching on Morpho. It's not like an immediate matching that they do have. There we go. I can't snap with my left hand. They don't have immediate matching. It would be cool if they did. They're going to change some things around, maybe increase the interest rates a bit to get better matching there. It's like 98% matching efficiency. So we do anticipate to get matched there. And then like where right now, like the golden child of our yield is our tick optimization. 7Cs and Defiant Logic Labs are working on this with Steth and ETH. So we have done tick optimization for Rocket Pool ETH. We have done tick optimization for CB ETH and ETH, and now we're doing tick optimization for staked ETH, Lido ETH. And the reason why we switched between assets is because we follow the volume. In fact, sometimes we even make the volume. And we have done like $400 million of volume through this position, even though it's only a $7 million position, and our position has been smaller before. So we are just really, really good at being in crazy tight ranges here and tick optimizing in a very dynamic fashion. with our off-chain analytics, and as a result, we've been able to generate between like 7 and 15% in just fees from tick optimizing, even at a very, very low fee tier. So it's been really incredible working with these guys and like seeing sort of the art of, actually it's more of a science of tick optimization there. But like that's not all we can do. So one of the cool things about Sommelier is that we have changed narratives every time something new and exciting has come out. And so like really the BTC, just a long story short, what they're doing is depositing on Morpho. You can get up to a 0.4% interest just depositing wrapped Bitcoin in Morpho and then borrowing ETH against that and then going and doing tick optimization with wrap staked ETH. We've considered doing leverage staking on wrap staked ETH, but it just wasn't the best opportunity at the time. And so you have to remember that what these are indexes of yields. So we have the ability, or the vault has the ability to at any given time tap into a better yield opportunity with a specific subset of assets. So all of the assets will be denominated in BTC here. You will have no other delta exposure rather than BTC. You have no exposure to like the vault's share price has no exposure to the price of ETH. It's only denominated in BTC because we're collateralizing BTC and then borrowing things to get a yield on. However, there are other assets coming. Like there's EBTC, there's TBTC, and if it is the case that getting a yield on those through like Uniswap V3 tick optimization of TBTC wrapped Bitcoin, the vault has the capacity to then tap into that yield. So these vaults do not stale, right? They adapt to whatever the best yield opportunity is in the given moment. That governance decides is within the risk reward of the vault. So like we couldn't choose just to add TBTC today if we wanted to. We just don't have that ability. But what we could do is like send a governance proposal. Governance could say yes or no. And then that could be integrated into the vault in a future time. And also all those adapters or integrations have to go through Ox Macro, one of the auditors for FRAX Finance, incredible auditor who we have a very close relationship with. So it's a timely process. But again, this makes the vault very nimble and very able to adapt. So that's sort of where these things are. I am particularly happy about this 6.95% real yield on BTC. I was worried that like getting started, we might be a little bit slow and it would take us some time to like show proof of concept on real yield BTC. But you know, we've done really well. The volume has been great on wrap staked ETH. Our tick optimization has been out of this world good, and it's just been a very cool experience to work on these. So, if you're interested in these vaults, you know, you can always talk to me about them. I'm always available. You can go in the Sommelier Discord, talk about them. In the DeFi Dojo Discord, tag me. I'll respond. There's also Maximus who works also in the DLL team. He can respond. And yeah, so go check it out. Like our TVL has exploded. Somalia's TVL is up like 14,000% since the beginning of the year. I know that's like kind of misleading because it was a pretty new protocol. But even since Define Logic Labs, which is the company that I co-founded, has joined Sommelier, the TVL has gone up by, I think, like 80%. So that's in large part due to like my co-founder, who's just a data monster. He just tracks so much data, and like we just work on strategies all day long. So it's a lot of fun. And then like 7C's, just phenomenal smart contract development team, excellent data science firm, mind-blowingly good tick optimizers, and like the Sommelier team themselves, just great marketers and great guys to work with. So go check it out. I think it's cool. I think it's well, you know, I don't want to show it too much, but just one thing to consider: Somalia is not available for people who are like presiding in any restricted domains. So if that's you, you're going to be geo-blocked from the site, and that'll sort of like be the indicator that you can't invest here. Thank you so much. If you want to learn about strategies and just like talk shop about DeFi, the best place to do that's clearly the DeFi Dojo Discord. It has been growing, and like the strategies mentioned in there are just nuts. There was a recent one, which was a repeg play on CRETH2. I personally had a like a double-digit great return denominated in ETH on that one. It's still going. There's still potential possibilities there. Another repeg play recently. Quick 5% on that one. But all I'm saying is there are great, interesting strategies in the DeFi Dojo Discord. People much smarter than myself who are constantly talking about like fundamental analysis, strategy development, deployment of capital, airdrop farming, and they're not shilling. Like you're just not going to find shills in there. What you're going to find is people committed to yield, people committed to ROI, people committed to just like the best opportunities I can find in DeFi given their subset of knowledge. And these are people have been like, class of 2014 crypto, class of 2017 DeFi, class of 2019, and they've stayed in it, and why they stayed through it, because they've been able to adapt this entire time. So the community that I built is that we've just built as a collective is my favorite by far in all of the internet, and you should come check it out. So links in the description. I highly recommend it. Still like a 7-day free trial. If you don't like it, don't pay for it, but I think you will. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Also, if you're wondering where my green screen went, I'm moving soon. So gotta pack up this office and get out of here. And so the green screen was one of the first things to go. So wish me luck on the move. It'll be soon, and then hopefully I'll be able to make a lot more content. I will say, though, that there will be kids in the background once again, as if it were my old videos, because I'll be doing most of the recording from my new office inside a home. So cheers.